This isn't what it's normally like living with dogs, but when you add a puppy into the mix, it's non-stop play. Sarge is almost 6 months old now, and Aiden's 11. Typically, with older dogs, they just lay around the house all the time. But with a puppy, it's non-stop wrestling. I think this puppy's keeping Aiden alive. I've never seen him so active. It's keeping me pretty busy too. When Aiden lost his housemates through divorce, he just laid around. He didn't swim anymore. He was bored out of his mind. I was starting to get worried about him. I was starting to get worried about myself. We just laid around and watched TV all day. As puppies go, this one's really smart. He's one of the best ones I ever got. And he's been a fine companion to Aiden. No matter your age, dogs can keep you active. If you don't want that type of activity, get a cat or get older dogs. If you don't want the responsibility of either, you don't have to. Just watch me and my dogs. Please subscribe. When I got Aiden, he was already a year old. He lived in a crate in an apartment complex, and the young girl couldn't handle her anymore, and her mother told her to get rid of him. So when I got him, he couldn't walk very well. His legs were underdeveloped, and he kind of hobbled around. I had another German Shepherd named Maya. She recognized there was a problem immediately, and one day I looked in the backyard, and she would walk across the backyard, stop and wait for him, then he'd follow her, then she'd go back the other way, he'd follow her, and pretty soon he was walking fine, and then running, and then she taught him how to swim. Dogs know. And Aiden had an ear problem, and she would check him every night, clean his ears. He didn't like it, so she'd hold his head down with both paws, and he'd have to suffer through it while she nursed him. Maya was a good, sweet girl. She was like the nanny dog. I noticed the female dogs I had were more caring and helpful to the other dogs. They were more sensitive and they were gentle. The male German Shepherds I've had were like wolves. They saw you had a problem, they'd say, "Better go see Dad before you die." It took Aiden a few years not to want to dominate the other dogs. You've probably heard me say this before, but one time I saw Aiden sneak over a mouthful of his food to my daughter's pug. The pug was on a special diet and he couldn't eat Aiden's food. But Aiden felt so bad for him, he'd go over and drop a mouthful of food in front of him. I had another dog at the time named Emma. She was an Australian Shepherd. She was sweet and loving, caring, very smart, but she didn't like the German Shepherds. I don't think Aiden liked her. He saw that I gave her special treatment. I let her lay next to me. We'd go for walks and car rides. I couldn't take Aiden around people. He was too overprotective, and I was always worried he'd bite someone. Maya also wasn't friendly around strangers. She only liked me, and she liked the other dogs. But if someone came in the house, she'd go outside till they left, then she'd come back in. My daughter, who lived with me, moved out, and on the way out she said, "Man, I was going to try to pet Maya this year." And this is Max. This is a game that him and Aiden played with Maya, where she would go out there and they'd wait for her to come in and then play chase around the pool. In some way, I think dogs are better than having children because you don't have to worry about dogs when they're teenagers. And for those of you that have children, you know that kids can find something wrong with ice cream. And dogs, they're happy with anything you give them. And I know I talk about dogs like they are my children. It's because they are. And just like children, you bore people with stories and pictures of your dogs. Just like I'm doing with you right now. And if you're still watching, you're a dog lover just like me. Or you're in it for the stories. It's the stories, isn't it? I should do a video on teenagers. It would be a cautionary tale, a warning to the poor souls that don't know. Well, that's it for now. We'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.